Chris McGee, Coach Dave Miller, joined by the Dime, Pepperdine University from Malibu, making that drive. We appreciate it. Coach Marty Wilson, we got Brendan Lane right here. And guys, good to have you. We're really excited to have you. I'm going to go to you in a minute. I want to start with you, Coach. The youth on your team, we're not talking about your senior right here. 7 freshmen, 11 of the 16 freshmen and sophomore. An exciting time for Pepperdine basketball. You've changed the culture. You got the guys that you really want in there.
Well, we have changed it. Our staff's done a heck of a job of recruiting. We have what we term OKGs, our kind of guys. Mm-hmm. Okay, guys that number one, that buy into team, guys that buy into to go into class and want to earn a degree. But guys that want to play together, guys that want to work hard, guys that want to hold each other accountable and challenge each other. But I think a big part of that is having senior leadership. We didn't have that. We didn't feel we had that last year. And one of the things that I challenged Brendan on was being our vocal guy and our leader and a veteran guy. He's done an unbelievable job. And I think our guys respect and follow his lead, and they feed off of it.
Coach. OKGs. I got it right. I like that one. Can we use that one on our Lakers?
Use it anytime you want.
I love that because usually they call me an OG, but that's just an old guy. I like yours. You know, you mentioned something about leadership, and we'll get to Brendan, like Chris said, in a minute. But with all these new faces, I think Stacey Davis had a phenomenal year. He showed bits and pieces of leadership. But what do you expect this young fellow to bring? I mean, 3 years at UCLA, he graduates. How does he impact your team? Not X's and O's.
Well, first of all, we have what we call, again, these are some acronyms that we have, the TLC, the Team Leadership Council, Brendan being one of the seniors. We have Marty Kramer being another one. And then we have some underclassmen with Stacey Davis being one and Jeremy Major. So the core of them are our leaders, with Brendan being the main leader and the biggest voice of that. And what it is, those guys combine of getting a sense of what the pulse of the team is, and what we need to do as a staff or what they need to do collectively as a team. But that's a big part of what we needed to do in developing these young guys and teaching them. So we meet once a week, our TLC, and along with myself, and we'll talk about different things, and we'll learn and hopefully teach some of our young guys how to become leaders. And with Brendan, he's gone through his experiences at UCLA and saw some things that didn't work and saw some things that did work. And we want to feed off of that.
You know, it's really intriguing to me because 18 years of college basketball, I've never really heard of something like that. We've always had mentor programs, but it's almost like a committee to keep a pulse on that team. I mean, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's very cool. And you mentioned Stacey Davis earlier, newcomer of the year last year, and I want you both to weigh in on this. How has he improved, and what are the expectations for him this year instead of resting on kind of what you did when you were a youngster?
Well, his expectations are higher. Obviously, ours are as well. Last year, Stacey was about 15-16% body fat. He's down to 9. Wow. Okay. I think, and Brendan can attest to it because he battles him basically every day, I think Stacey's possibly the strongest guy in the league at 6'6.5", 6'7". And still, he hasn't reached his full potential with that. He's changed his conditioning. He's changed his athleticism. Our strength coach, Matt Young, has done an unbelievable job with him, but with our team in general, where Stacey leaves a weight room, 5 steps out of the weight room, he takes his shirt off. Well, that's confidence.
Yeah. Everybody does that in Malibu, Coach.
But he's changed his body so he feels how good, and he likes what he looks like now. But it's translating onto the basketball floor. And I think his expectations is to be known as one of the top big guys or top players in the conference, and he wants to compete for one of the Play of the Year.
Go ahead, you can speak to him too.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. The work he put in the offseason, the weight room especially, I mean, guarding him every day is tough. When he faces up, he can drive, and he's just going to put his shoulders down, and you can't stop him. I mean, he's so great at getting inside and kicking it out to our wings and point guards out there. He's an unbelievable passer, especially at his size and his ability to put it on the floor. I think that was probably one of the biggest things he did this offseason was just getting more on the perimeter, being able to drive, break down his defender, and kick it out. He's one of the most unselfish players I've ever played with.
Brendan, in this league, you've got teams that are running teams. You've got half-court teams that are going to execute. What can we expect out of this Pepperdine team?
I think we're going to be a lot more up-tempo this year. I mean, obviously we're going to have our half-court stuff, and Coach loves getting down on defense and defend it, but I think we'll have a lot more fast pace this year. Our guards like to get it out and run. That's what we've been working on all off season. Just getting the ball and going and get the wings going and the bigs run the floor.
Coach had mentioned 3 years at UCLA. You graduated, which is a fantastic thing. Here you are, your last season of college basketball, and you're at Pepperdine. How important is this year for you on a personal level?
I mean, this is it. This is
Yeah.
my last year. I mean, everything I've worked towards is coming up to this last year of college basketball. I mean, it seems like just yesterday I was a freshman, so it's flown by. But, I mean, I'm really excited to just finally play, just get out there, don't have confidence issues, just get out and have fun, enjoy my teammates, and just getting out and playing as hard as I can and win a lot of games.
You a different guy than you were a couple years ago?
Oh, night and day.
Yeah.
Night and day, yeah.
Well, you look like you've been in the weight room too.
Yeah,
I mean, your body has changed.
As
since
you
running
said,
up
Coach,
and
in
down.
Malibu, you got to be buff. You got to look good.
Well, that's where I like to go shred some waves, guys, when I get out of the studio with Chris. Coach, let's talk a little basketball. I really like your front court, and I've seen the development. I know you've gone with youth, and you've gone with developing your players. Who's going to have to step up to be your leader, your point guard, to direct these big guys that certainly have improved?
Well, we have a combination of two freshmen, and I've put a lot of pressure on them early to be vocal. I'm tough on our point guards, being a former point guard, and being able to have that relationship from head coach to point guard of them being vocal. We try to put them in leadership positions. As I talked about, Jeremy Majors, part of the TLC, where he has to be vocal. He has to be able to communicate and learn from the older guys. But in practice, when he makes a call or if he doesn't make a call, they hear me. Jeremy, Amadi, they hear me. Austin Mills, they have to be vocal. I don't want our front court or our wings looking like, hey, what are we doing? I didn't hear the call, because I put a lot of pressure on them. They're going to make life easier for me, number one. They're going to make life easier for our players because they're quick, they're fast, they have very high basketball IQs, but they make the simple plays. Okay, they are scorers, but they're unselfish scorers. They can create off the dribble for themselves, but they're looking to create for our other guys. They know the ball's got to go inside to Brendan and Stacy first. And they understand that Brendan and Stacy, if they don't have a one-on-one play, they're going to kick it out and give them opportunities as well. So I think our point guard play will be better with freshmen than we had last year as seniors.
That's great. Brendan, to be the head coach at Pepperdine, you just can't X and O. You've got to have high character. And I've known Marty for many years, and he's sort of a father-like figure, was a great recruiter. What does he do X and O-wise now that you've been in two different programs? How does he prepare you guys from a technical standpoint?
I mean, I think he's great. I mean, every day practice near the end, we usually break down, run plays. He's always drawing up little slips or just little counters to the plays we've been running. He gets us every day, he's always trying to trick me because I like to sniff it out and try to figure out what he's doing. But I mean, he's great. He's great at drawing up little plays, get quick actions, and I mean, defensively, he knows what he's doing. I mean, we're probably one of the best defensive teams in this league. And I think that's part of him, just his whole mentality is just getting down. Every day we're doing this thing called the habit drill, just doing these defensive slides every day. I think he's really built that into all the players' minds, just defense is number one.
Well, that's good because there should be another committee at Pepperdine, the habit committee, because we know basketball is about good habits.
No doubt.
Yes.
What about this conference, Coach? I mean, we're Coach and I are so impressed. We get to do the weekly show, but for you guys to come in here and we're getting to meet all these great young men, it really is about developing that family-type atmosphere, the great cultures. And all these coaches, they stay in the WCC, they come back year after year, and they're able to build programs.
Well, obviously we have a great group of guys in terms of the coaches. I don't notice any clashes or egos or conflicts. I think we all get along well. We're competing against each other on the floor. We're competing against each other in recruiting, but we still can be cordial and friendly off the floor. Number one, I think that helps to a healthy conference, as competitive as it is. Again, with Gonzaga, I say this all the time. I tip my hat off with what Mark's done. Obviously, what Brandy has built there, and that's the phase that we're in. Obviously, with Dave coming in, with BYU and the support and the following that they've had, and he's done an unbelievable job. I was at Utah when he first took over at BYU and having that as a rivalry. I think the rest of us are working our way back up. Us being Pepperdine and the basketball tradition that we had when I played there in the late 80s, when I was an assistant there in the early 90s, we're trying to build that back. And we've brought in a lot of those former players to be back around so our players understand what the tradition was about. So they know
That's some great teams.
Yeah. So, and then obviously with recruiting, we have to, when we have changed that so we can compete with the other teams in this league.
Brendan, everyone has aspirations to play at the next level. I mean, Chris is still waiting to get that call to be drafted. That's why he likes to sit with me and James Worthy. Life after basketball, what's Brendan Lane going to be doing?
That's a good question. Right now I'm getting a master's in applied finance. So hopefully when I'm done, when it's all said and done with basketball, getting some maybe financial management, commercial banking, that whole area. I haven't really narrowed it down yet, but I'm taking a lot of those classes right now.
We need to keep in touch with him.
No,
for
no
our
question
next
about it,
contract.
Coach.
Yeah.
No question about it. Hey, great job. Appreciate you coming, Brendan Lane.
Thank you.
Coach,
All right,
Marty
appreciate it.
Wilson, great job. Good luck this year, and don't be afraid to come visit us. It's not that far, right? Nice work.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, guys.